And now it's time for a preview of an upcoming game by Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Incredibrawl, which is an incredible brawl. In the sense of everybody has all different sorts of people that they're fighting with other people. So you have a leprechaun doing a pile driver on robotic sharks against dinosaurs. There's all kinds of cool stuff in this game. And what it is it's a very simple game where you're going to be playing cards against other players, trying to beat them out. Combat is determined with a somewhat of a, it's kind of rock, paper, scissors, but a little bit more than that. Let me show you. As with all my previews, I always say, of course, that the things that you see here, this is not final production. This is just a prototype for your benefits. You can see how the game plays, although the artwork here is, much of it is final artwork, and it does look very good. There are 4 different decks of cards. You can play 2, 3, or 4, although you have to modify it for 2 or 3 players. Briefly, it's pretty simple, but I'm going to explain basically how a 4-player game works. Now, in a regular game, you'll be fighting in the grassy meadow. Each player gets a deck of identical cards, and they will be shuffling those and drawing some of those into their hands. Now, in this deck of cards, you will have lots of different creatures. For example, here we can see a knight. A knight is a 1 purple, or in this case the purple is physical power. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we have natural power, starting with the 1 kitten all the way up to the 10 dinosaur. And then you have energy, starting with the 1 leprechaun and going all the way up to the 10 dragon. If you play an advanced game, you will also have 10 special cards which will go in your deck. Now, basically, essentially, each turn of the game, you'll be playing a card, and your opponent will be playing a card, and then you will be comparing those 2 cards. So in this case, I played a goblin, and my opponent plays a ninja. Well, first we look at the power types, and the power types are very simple. Natural beats energy, and energy beats physical, and physical beats natural. So since I played a natural, and my opponent played a physical, they win. Nothing else matters. It's 4-2. Now, had my opponent played a energy here, for example, this robot, then I would have won, because green beats blue, natural beats energy. If you both play the same thing, let's say we both have played natural, then the person who plays the higher number is the winner. Now, that in a family game, that's the only thing you do. And when we play this, I play against my opponent, the person next to me plays against his opponent, and then the 2 winners play against each other, and the winning person gets a victory point. First person to get to a certain number of victory points, 10 is what the game recommends, is the winner. But there's more than just that to the game. If you play with the somewhat more advanced rules than the regular game, in essence, you also will go by what's on the bottom of these cards here. See here, we see a W on the dinosaur card. And that W only comes into effect if you win. So if the dinosaur wins, each opponent must reveal their hand, and you choose a card from their hand to discard. Other cards, something will happen if you lose. Like, for example, the kitten here, the player that won this round must give you their 1 victory glory, as well as randomly discard a card from their hand. So that only happens if the person loses. So you have a win power possibility, you also have a lose power, and then there's a play power. This happens as soon as you play it. So for example, as soon as I play the pirate, I will take 1 glory from each opponent. And then there's also occasionally exclamation points. Those don't happen very often unless you're playing the advanced game, and these are cards that you can play essentially outside of the game. For example, low blow. This is not the card that you play, but a card that you play. And here it says you may play this card after losing. Discard your hand to have the winner of this round lose 2 glory. So there's all sorts of different cards. I'm just showing you now some of the examples of the cards that you will be playing, both special cards that you can play outside or just cards that you will fight your opponent with, always trying to outguess whether they're going to be playing the energy type or the natural type or the power type, and will you be able to beat them with your card that you play. You can also play with more than one location. We have the grassy meadow location here, which is the basic arena, and each game you always start with the grassy meadow, but in the regular game you stay in the grassy meadow. What you can do though is in the full game, the winner can pick a new one, so they'll draw a new one. Instead of grassy It might be the Haunted Graveyard. And supernatural characters that win here get 1 bonus glory. Or an Ancient Coliseum, physical power types that win here get an extra glory. Or the Mysterious Dungeon, or the Enchanted Forest, or the Urban Sprawl, or Treasure Island, or Space Station, or Arcane Tower, or Mystic Ruins. Now you can stay with the same location. The winner is the one who decides whether to go to a new location or not. And that's how you play Incredibrawl. So let's talk about what Incredibrawl has going forward. First of all, it has really good artwork, and the artwork is going to appeal across a wide variety of likes and dislikes, because you have the idea of a pirate fighting a ninja, fighting a dinosaur, fighting a superhero, fighting a goblin, etc. You know, just taking a look at the picture on the front of the rule book here will show you just all the styles of art, and so people get a kick out of that. And everywhere I've gone in the world, people like playing rock, paper, scissors. This is a more advanced version where it is essentially rock, paper, scissors, but the number also matters, as well as the special power. I may play a deliberately weak card because the special power will help me out here, but I might know my opponent's going to play that weak card, so I'll play, and clearly I must not choose the wine placed in front of me, etc. This back and forth. But the game has a very low barrier to get involved with it. I mean, we're talking probably very young kids could easily learn to play this. I mean, the only difficulty would be special abilities, and you can cut those out anyway. So this is a very easy game to jump into. It's a quick game, does not take very long unless you're very brutal and taking those points back and forth from each other. But it plays. You can. I showed you a 4-player, but you can play 2 or 3. Whereas there's a start player marker that moves around and that determines who hits first and so on in the different battles. And you can even play that way in a 4-player game with advanced rules. But even the most advanced rules, if you play with everything extra in this game, is not going to be that over the top and that complicated. The game is very simple, easy to get into. If you're interested in backing Incredibrawl, in just a moment, we're going to show you a link where you can do so and support this game. Here it is.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.